Hello, everyone. It is me, your gracious host again. Today I wanted to make a video just explaining the general mechanics and how to navigate the UI of Guilty Gear. Because I copped on that, hey, I've never actually explained this game to anybody who doesn't know how it works. So, yeah, that's what this video is going to be about. So this video is going to be less humor coded because of it. I'm also joined by my brother Lorgan.
Hi.
And editing me will probably make an appearance as well. So I'm just going to go. Let's just get right into it. To B. Alright, this is the main title screen of the game. I will go through
the newly released Season 3.
Yeah, as of Season 3. So I'm going to go through each and every one of these things and explain what they do and when you should probably be playing them. This is the network. This is how you go online to fight other players. Quite self-explanatory. I'll probably do a sequel video explaining how all of this works. Don't think I'd have time to explain it here. This is the local mode where you can fight against CPUs and people with you. This is where you'd mainly be playing the single player of the game. This is where you play the single player of the game, not the story mode. I just felt like I needed to say that out loud because the game's not very upfront with it. This is the dojo, where you can learn new characters. Most importantly, tutorial mode, which allows you to learn more about general fighting game terms and how to do setups and such. But this wouldn't be a proper explanation if I didn't do some of that myself. Don't mind my mods, by the way. Alright, that was fine. I do have some mods on, but for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be playing Kai, who is a Shoto, meaning that he's well-rounded and meant for people to try and unlearn and understand the game. So now I'll introduce you to the main gameplay of the game, which is this 2D fighting game segment. There are 4 face buttons: P, punch, slash, and heavy slash, and K. There's also D, which is the universal overhead. I'll now explain the UI just for the sake of it. On your top left and right corners, you can see the health bars of the characters you're playing as. Just for training mode here, you can also see what inputs I'm putting in. This circle will help you understand what I mean when I'm talking of the inputs that are in the game. For example, a quarter circle would be a quarter of this circle, a half circle would be a half of this circle, and some more unique inputs like half circle back forward is, well, that. At the bottoms of the screen, you can see the meters of each characters, which allows you to use their overdrive moves. You can see if you want to know the inputs for each specific character, I would recommend going to the Dust Loop wiki, which is the Guilty Gear wiki that is exclusively for the sake of just gameplay. Knowing every move. Yeah. Now I'll probably explain the mechanics and what else meter is used for. Meter is also used for Roman cancel, which by default is used by pressing all 4 face buttons at once. But by Is it just 3? Fuck. This is a Roman cancel, which is done by pressing any 3 of the regular face buttons that aren't dusk at once. It spends half of your full meter and it has 3 distinct versions. Blue Roman Cancel slows down the enemy around you while you're not doing anything in the moment. Purple Roman Cancel is used on move startup and end lag to get you out of it. Red Roman Cancel allows you to get combos from where you're typically not. And Yellow Roman Cancel allows you to cancel the enemy's block string. As I said, Roman Cancel is typically done with 3 regular face buttons. But if you're uncomfortable with that or any other of these settings, you can go to the button settings menu and completely customize what you're doing. This is how each of the face buttons are laid out on a controller. I'm using Xbox for example. To jump in the game, it's like any fighting game, just up on your controller. But there is a little extra thing Guilty Gear has, where instead of there's a dash macro in the game. You don't need to press double on any of the buttons to do anything. You don't need to do it. You can just press the dash button.
You can also air dash, like
yes.
the double left or double right hand in the air, or the dash out.
Some characters can air dash, but yet again, that's a dust loop thing to learn about. I suppose let's talk about dust now. Dust is the game's universal overhead attack. Lore can block low just so we know it's an overhead. And 2D is the universal... Sorry, I need to explain this. Fighting game moves are commonly displayed with a numpad, so 2D would be down dusk. Down dusk is the universal low move. And if you press dusk at any of your side things, it's the universal grab. Typical fighting game stuff, you need to be holding back straight up to block overhead attacks and standing like this to block low attacks.
Danger.
The next mechanic I will explain is burst, which is done by quite an example of it is done by pressing 2 of these buttons and 2 of the face buttons and then dusk at once. This is a full screen. It used to not be full screen, but this is a full screen. Yeah. It gets you out of any block string. It basically stops the enemy from hitting you at any moment in time. Gets you out of any hit stun, hit lag. Yeah, some things. Like some grabs, I believe. Either way, recently, in the most recent thing, burst gauge, I should explain, burst gauge is what is underneath your health bar. Yeah. Burst gauge is, recently in Season 3, they introduced 2 new moves to the game, 2 new universal moves. 2 new universal moves to the game, which use your burst meter instead of your tension gauge. Wild Assault and... what's the name of that? Deflect Shield. Deflect Shield makes it so that if you're blocking something, the person attacking you instantly gets sent backwards. Sort of similar to a regular burst or a yellow Roman cancel. While Wild Charge is a charge forward that uses up the enemy's burst meter and allows you to get in quick and do quick conversions in combos. I would recommend for all of the rest of the things you do go for the tutorial, because they explain many more things when it comes to typical fighting games. And yeah, and how to accurately go into them with combos. Hello again. I just figured that after the first recording, I should probably explain more about the story mode. And all this here doesn't really matter, but the story. I would suggest you only really get into this after you've already been enticed by the game. While I do love this franchise's story, Strives' one in particular is pretty lackluster in comparison to the rest of them. And at the end of the day, it is an anime fighting game. It's super fucking complicated. So
it's really complicated. Like,
yeah.
okay, if you go and do the play story mode, there are 2 separate stories.
Yes.
There is the another story, and then the main story. You only get the another story once you get the DLC.
Is that? I didn't know that was DLC exclusive. Either way, as I said, main story, it's just a movie. There's no gameplay involved. And if you do want to learn more about the story after being enticed by the great gameplay, great characters, absolutely god music made by Ishiwatari himself, I would recommend the GG World, which has within it a glossary, which is basically just an in-game official wiki with pretty much everything. Correlation, which allows you to know all the relationships of the characters, and chronology, which literally just goes through all of the events of everything that happens.
There's also the settings.
Oh yeah, and settings. One, what? Fuck. Fuck! Wait, shit! Editing me, cut this out! No, I'm not playing Axel. Alright, there is also the settings, which allow you to change all of this stuff. And you can also, importantly, change which voices you're using. This game has 3 different entirely voiced things.
There's the
Japanese, English, and Korean. I personally keep it English for the sake of Robbie Damon Happy Chaos and Octopimp Axel. But having it Japanese for what's his name? Johnny's.
Yeah, Norio Wakamoto.
Yeah, you can also keeping it Japanese for voice actors like Norio Wakamoto for Johnny is also completely respectable. I'd say the English and Japanese are definitely on the same tier when it comes to this game. The voice acting is amazing. Thank you for watching the video. This has been your gracious host, me, Robert, and farewell.